What's going on, guys? It's Monkey Fantastic here, and welcome back to another video. In today's video, I'm going through some tactics. I'm thinking about going more to tactical videos rather than like pack openings or anything, because I don't really have the facilities for pack openings as often as I wanted, and I haven't been doing many of the tokens recently because I haven't been as devoted to FIFA as maybe I should have been. But all that set aside, yeah, here's a tactical video. I've tested these tactics. I know they work. I've gave them to a few of my friends. It's the reason why one of them actually completed Weekend League. They were close to raging. But with all that said and done, as you can see, the formation is the 4-3-2-1. Personal preference, having Philip Lahm and Trent swap over. You don't have to do that. I only do it because Philip Lahm works well as a right back. He used to play there. You're wondering why Cancelo's left forward, Blanc's left back. I normally sub Blanc off for St. Justy, and Cancelo just works well in attack. Can't complain. But onto the tactics. The defensive style is balanced. You could go with pressure on heavy touch or press after possession loss. However, it does drain your player's stamina and can leave open gaps at the back, making it harder to defend. So I personally choose to go with balanced. The width, it's 45 because it's more of a narrower. Like on the defense, it's more narrow, meaning it's easier to defend. As I don't know what it is, it's just for some reason people find it harder to break down a narrow formation rather than an open one. I understand runs and all that. With a narrow one, the only issue is you sit too narrow, so it means they can send crosses in. Say if they've got Vlahovic or Haaland, it's much harder to defend. However, the narrow form seems to work. The depth is 52 to 62 if you're on old gen, 62 to 72 on new gen. I'm not sure what it is. However, whenever I play on old gen PC, it does not work with having anything higher than 62 on the depth. However, on new gen, it's 62 and above to about 72 I'd recommend. So that's that. Build up play, I like to leave it on balance because it lets us as a player choose how we want to play the ball. Because sometimes you go with long ball, other times you go with a slow build up depending on how the play is going. So on chance creation, I would always say direct passing, no matter what formation, no matter what tactic, no matter what style you're playing, direct passing is the way to go. It just, you can make sure it gets to your players and your players will give you options. And that's what I just love about it, and it makes sure you can always get the ball to who you need. The width 45. With the formation, the 4-3-2-1, as you can see, you've got a left forward and right forward and a striker. And that means you can spearhead the tactic, and when I go into the instructions, you'll get what I mean by spearhead. However, keeping the width as a narrow one just lets your strikers stay more compact rather than wide. Players in the box, I'd recommend anywhere from about 7 to 4. But with this tactic, I prefer to use 4. However, it is personal opinion whether you've got more tall players or small players, or you just prefer to do crossing rather than cutting in. Completely up to you, but I'd recommend 4. And corners and free kicks, I like to keep it on 1 because I only really have Kane and Lewin on my bench, Team of Season 11. So I only like to have 1 or 2 players in the box, meaning I can just guarantee it getting onto their heads. And for corners specifically, Van Dijk goes forward, and I want it to be either on Kane or Van Dijk, and not, say, Philip Lahm or Guendouzi. Don't get me wrong, Guendouzi's good at headering, however, Van Dijk and Kane are much, much better. Plus it means the likes of Guendouzi, Payet and all that can sit on the edge of the box, so if they get a clearance or a rebound, it will drop out to them so I can either send a long shot or cut in and shoot. Onto the instructions. With the spearhead I was on about before, Cancelo, Kane and Kulu, all players like stay central, so all of them stay more compact and can just run through the middle of the defense, because most players play with 2 centre backs unless you come against a 3 or a 5 back, which I don't really come across that often unless I'm in FUT champs for maybe 4 of the games. However, most teams play with 2 centre-backs in the 4-2-2 or the 4-3-3 in any of the other variations, meaning these 3 will all run through the 2 defenders, making them spread out, so either Kane can run through an open gap, Cancelo can run through an open gap, or Cooley can run through an open gap. Meaning you get more shots and it's harder for them to defend, which is a reason I like it. However, on one of the left or right forwards, Cancelo or Cooley, I put on Cancelo for obvious reasons, come back on defence, because on the defence you want to play as a 4-4-2. So you've got 2 lines of 4 and then 2 players that will stay forward in a sense. However, you don't put stay forward on either of these, meaning they can come back on a defence that you're really struggling on. So it gives you a numerical advantage. Sorry, just looking through my notes. The left or right centre mid, depending on which one you've told to stay back. So if you tell Cancelo, your left forward, to stay back, then Payet will be on cover centre. And if you tell Kulu to stay back, then Trent will be on cover centre. However, because I've told Cancelo to come back on defence, Trent plays as cover wing and get forward, meaning he'll play as more of a right mid position rather than the centre mid. And Payet will just play as more of a centre mid, balanced all over player. Guendouzi, he is the CDM position. That's where you want, you say, Kante. I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Kessie, players like that. Those are the ones you want there. I've got Guendouzi because he personally works well for me. However, whoever's your CDM or best defensively, I would recommend putting there. And you'd want to stay back on attack, cover centred, the rest leave as balanced. On the left and right back, I have stay back on attacking, so you're essentially counter-proof depending on how well you defend. I prefer to keep them back because I'm more of a conservative player, hence conservative interceptions, which is completely up to you. I prefer to do it because it means it will keep the line and it's harder to break down. However, if you were more of an aggressive player, I would recommend putting it on... That's the wrong player. So I'm messing up my own tactics now. I'd recommend on normal, or sometimes, I wouldn't recommend, however, sometimes aggressive interceptions. And overlap, personal opinion, I prefer to use it because it will send them forward. I probably wouldn't use it on Blanc, but as I sub on St. Just the shapeshifters, sorry I can't speak today, he's normally good at just running through and getting crosses into the box. And centre-backs leave him as normal. And the goalkeeper, I have come for crosses, as it's easier to defend with the likes of Vlahovic, who I keep coming against in the attack, and it's hard to stop him because Van Dijk's not always with him. Sometimes it's Romero, and Romero can't get to the ball as fast as Vlahovic, as I've noticed during games, but I'm not sure whether it's just my Romero or he's just not as good as Vlahovic. Don't know. But I have Alisson on come out for crosses. 1, because he's fast, and 2, he's good. He's a good keeper. And sweeper keeper, that one's up for debate as personal opinion. As if you're more of an aggressive player, sweeper keeper's your favourite friend over there, because the keeper will come out and play as, say, a 5th defender. However, I would probably stay with balanced if you're more conservative and like to make the defence do all the work and not have the keeper come out and risk being chipped or then passing it around you and scoring. So that's the tactics. I hope you enjoy. I've personally used them, they work. If you've got any feedback for them, please leave them in the comments. If you don't have any feedback, don't give any feedback. But yeah, I hope you enjoy and thank you for watching.